So we turned back to our lodgings towards sunset, ate what we could, and then asked old Bodranga to play for us. And where do you know? A whole crowd of schoolmen gathered at our place, for this was their haunt. We threw ourselves into dancing, you know how it is at that age, until we never felt when the night passed. And so I escaped boredom, and Trasnia escaped babbling in his sleep. What is Romanian grammar is, what is, as on other days. But the merriment did not end there. Another, and an even greater one, began afresh. Old Bodranga had barely taken the flute from his mouth when, there we are, Father Buliga, also called a Ciucalau, from Busiumeni Street, turned up, well incensed and well sprinkled with holy water from early morning. May God forgive him. And as he blessed us in his usual fashion, with both hands like a bishop, he also gave us each a little nudge toward the priest's daughter from old faulty Cheney, saying she was a good girl, fit to be a priest's wife, that she would suit me well, that her father would tie her around my neck, and all the jibes and innuendos of Father Buliga the mischievous, until Gatlan began to flatter him, saying, "Come now, Reverend Father, enough of these inventions, even on the very day before the fast begins. Play a little more, old Bodranga, so we may have our fill of joy. The priest will be kind and forgive us." Old Bodranga kept his word. He began to play again, and to the dance, boys. Father Buliga, though old, when he saw that this was our business, tucked the skirts of his cassock into his belt, saying, "For my part, may the Lord grant you nothing but cheer and good spirits, my sons, for as long as you live." Then he flung his skufia aside and leapt into the dance with us, all in a heap, his hair flying loose. We struck up one burst, then another, then a third, until we were close to dancing the soul right out of the priest. And so we wore him down, till he had had his fill of us. But as the saying goes, if you've joined the dance, you must dance. After a while, seeing that he had thrown in his lot with madmen, the poor priest began to change his tune. My dear ones, some children of my spiritual care are waiting for me, and I must go, come what may, for this is our plough. Pavel, our host, then set a plate of dried snacks and a carafe of wine before Father Buliga, saying, "Here you are, Reverend Father. Take a little taste from our table and a glass or two of wine, and then you may go on your way, if you truly are in such a hurry." His Reverence, raising no objection, crossed his hands as was the custom, cleared his throat, and said humbly, "Lord, bless the food and drink of your servants, amen." After that he lifted a glass, saying, "I drink to you, boys, to your faces with health, as to a green forest. When things are worse for us, may they still be like this." And he tossed the glass back, then another 2 or 3, and after those still a few more. Then he blessed us again with both hands, saying, "Well then, boys, settle yourselves now." And with that he left us in peace and went his way. But we, as the saying has it, neither all the doctor's cures, nor all the priest's prayers. When you're feasting, why stop feasting? Toward evening, we set off at a crawl, old Bodranga and all, and slipped into a respectable tavern, kept by the daughter of the Vornik from Radashane, where people gathered more out of love for the innkeeper than thirst for wine. For she was beautiful too, confound the fun of it, and newly married at that, to an old widower and a "leave it to me, mother," just the kind that's easiest to lodge with. As soon as she saw us, the innkeeper sprang forward and led us aside into a large room with shuttered windows and a plank floor, where it was just us and her whenever she wished, as in her own house. In one corner of the room were several measures of beans, in another, hemp seed, in the third, a heap of fine apples and radasheni pears that last till after Easter. In the fourth, peas and broad beans separated by a wide board. Next to them, some Turkish pumpkins. In a tub, dried pears, sweet as figs. Farther on, a stack of bundles of hemp and flax. On a beam, skeins of yarn and wool dyed in all sorts of colours for rugs and coverings. Then tow, tubs, and other goods, stacked about the shelves and corners, like the house of a leading householder of those times. And while we were in this blessed house, the innkeeper quickly let down the shutters, lit a candle, and in the blink of an eye appeared with a large earthen jug filled with odor-beshti wine. Pouring into the glasses, the drops leapt a full span high from the wine. It was that strong. Gatlan, a good reveller, took a glass and handed it to the hostess, saying, "Go on then, little dove. Do you take the first taste to do us the honour? Let's see, maybe you've put something in it." The beautiful innkeeper, taking the glass, toasted us all with health, her eyes laughing, and after sipping a little, begged us not to detain her, for she had other customers as well, and her husband could not manage alone. "But you'd think so." We blocked her way, insisting she drink from each glass, and she would have stayed longer with us if we hadn't foolishly chased her off, thanking her each time with a fiery kiss. "That's youth for you, confound it," said old Bodranga, perched on some tubs and chewing dried pears. "You're right, boys. Now is your time." "And as you say, old man," replied the innkeeper, coming in just then with a bowl of hot pies and a roast hen, setting them before us. And truly she did a great charity, for we were hungry as wolves. After we finished that jug, another was brought, for which we thanked the innkeeper again with kisses, until she pretended to get angry and fled from among us. Later she came back again and fled again, for that's how wine is sold, where it's sold. Or who knows? Perhaps the innkeeper herself was not entirely displeased to linger among us, since she came by so often. At the end of it all, even surly Trasnia planted a kiss on her without warning, for at such things nearly every fool is skilled. And then the beautiful innkeeper truly did get angry. But what could we do? As the saying goes, in the same shirt she got angry, in that one she cooled off. Otherwise there's no knowing how to manage her. After a while, when old Bodranga gathered his courage, he began to play a korabiaska on his flute, one of the lively kind. We then could not help but leap into the dance, and we danced so hard that the house could not contain us, and we trampled crookedly through the beans, peas, and broad beans, and the hemp seed turned to oil, crackling under our soles. Around midnight, seeing that old Bodranga had left us, we too began to slip away one by one toward our lodgings. I, with my shirt front loaded with dried pears, and a great pumpkin that the innkeeper had given me, for as beautiful as she was, so generous she was, the dear thing. And when I reached our lodgings, what should I see? Nearly every one of my companions had pilfered something. One fine apples, another radasheni pears. Old Bodranga had pinched a heap of tubs to start the fire, and Trasnia, hemp seed, and Oshlobanu, with boots made from one cow and soles from another, coming last of all, suddenly lay down with his head on the bed and his heels against the beam, just as he was, shod and clothed. And what should your eyes behold? I won't lie, but more than a peck of beans poured then from his trouser legs, which he usually wore rolled up, but had unrolled on purpose for this very little business. Only my cousin, Iowan Mogoroja, the son of an honest, well-to-do householder, had taken nothing at all, not so much as a thread's end, and Zaharia, Gatlan's boy, had contented himself with a kiss from the beautiful innkeeper, a great comfort for a stranger lad on the eve of the fast. And only now do I understand that Gatlan who at school was called Zaharia Simeonescu, was wiser than all of us, for he made good use of the things we brought back, while we gained nothing from his good fortune. Well, well, everything is fine and fair in its own time. But now we had to put our noses to our books a little too, for before long Christmas vacation would be upon us, and we were wasting our parents' bread for nothing. Nothing comes without cost, and money is not picked up from the road. Altogether, at the beginning of the fast, we now had some 4 or 5 jars of oil, 3 or 4 sacks of maize flour, a few measures of salted fish, dried plums, beans, peas, broad beans, salt and firewood for several weeks. For we all ate together, taking turns cooking, each one from his own stores for a day. But Oshlo-Banu, who ate like 17, had begun to worry us. His Father Nekulai, to be sure, had means to send him supplies, but what's in your hand is no lie. Many things are to be done, and few spoken, if you have someone to understand you. One day I took counsel with Gutlan, that something ought to be done here, so that we might rid ourselves of a few gluttons, for the partnership no longer seemed fair to us. And we found a most fitting solution. At night, when all were asleep, to put posts on the souls of whomever we chose, especially since a few of them fell into deep sleep as soon as old Bodranga began telling stories. And once we had settled such plans, we waited till the others were away from home and set about making posts to last us for some time. A few layers of paper, glued one on top of another with melted candle tallow by the fire, slipped quietly onto the souls when a man sleeps heavily, and then lit with a match. No holier thing can there be. And since everyone bore the greatest grudge against Oshlo-Banu, we gave him the mischief first. And when the burn reached the bone, he leapt from sleep, bellowing like a bull, unable to find a place in the house for the pain. But not finding out who was to blame, and not daring to take on everyone at once, he set about making prostrations and cursing us, fire pouring from his mouth. We, however, for all his curses, putting a few more posts on him on other nights, until his souls became nothing but one big wound, forced him to take his leave back to Humulesht, sick to death of priesthood, and leaving all his provisions in our keeping. Right after that, Gutlan wrote to Oshlo-Banu, "Dear Oshlobene, I bow with good health from nakedness, the last of the stripped. If you have nothing to eat there, you are welcome to come and fast with us all. Your well-wisher, Zaharia, great captain of posts." A few days later we cut another man's taste for priesthood, one who had newly come to lodge with us. Nika, Constantine Cosma's son, from Humulesht, went off too, his feet blistered, following after Oshlo-Banu, and so much the better, for they were only wasting their time. As for Trasnea, being leaner and harder-headed, he endured as long as he could, and when he saw that we were wearing him down with the posts, he moved to another lodging, taking his share of provisions with him. And with this arrangement, we were left only 3 now at Pavel the cobbler's. I, Gutlan, my cousin Ioan, nicknamed Mogoroga, and old Bodranga to top it all. My cousin, having seen the other's affliction, took to sewing the sleeves of his coat every night at bedtime and slipping his feet into them, sleeping without a care. As the saying goes, good God passes great danger. Near Christmas, Pavel made my cousin Ioan a pair of leather boots, for they were as close as nail and flesh. Mogoroga paid Pavel 2 silver coins for the boots, and to be fair, they were worth the money, for he used good leather, thick soles, and stitched them soundly. Only Pavel forgot to add the squeak. And for that, Mogoroga's heart was sorely vexed. Luckily it was a frosty winter, and the snow helped with the squeaking. During the holidays we went home and then, as the gypsy says, Christmas, the full one. Smoked pork ribs, sausages stuffed tight, garlicky trandafiri and thin slices of homemade bacon, chopped together, well fried in the pan and eaten with hot polenta, went down slick as grease. A peasant makes many tasty dishes when he has the means. And thanks be to the Lord, our parents did have the means, for poverty had not yet settled at their door, as far as I know. And lest I forget, we spent the holidays merrily with our parents in Humulesht, and after Epiphany we returned again to Folticeni, to Pavel, our host. We went by the school now and then, just for form's sake. But truth be told, we had no real business there, for anyone who wants can learn his letters at home. And whoever does not, lucky him. I, for one, was among those lucky ones. When it comes to faith, what more learning do you need? From old Bodranga too you had something to learn. His flute made you dance whether you wished to or not, and his stories gave you no time to sleep. Besides that, we had ways enough to pass the time when we wished. Marbles, tabacaraska, or conchina, and other times, at night, we would sit talking till broad daylight, and on feast days we would roam about the villages, wherever we knew dances were held. In Rudashane, a large, fine, wealthy village, we danced at 3 gatherings in a single day. One of autumn-aged lads, attended by the youngest girls, another of young lads, attended by the more settled girls, and a third of children, attended by whoever pleased. The lads barely swayed in the dance, and the hora turned very slowly. The girls did not wait to be invited as elsewhere. Each one would simply slip between the hands of 2 lads, wherever it suited her, say, "Good day," and the dance went on. My cousin, strutting in his new boots, danced only beside the Vornik's daughter, sister to the beautiful innkeeper from Folticeni, and Gutlan, who was dancing next to me, whispered in my ear, "Just you wait and see what I'll do to Mogoroja. If today turns out well for him, may it be my sin." "Hush," I said. "Why talk nonsense? You'll make the man angry and he'll go home too." "So what?" he said. "What great loss? As the saying goes, if the old woman gets down from the cart, the mare's load is lighter." And we danced on. That evening we returned to our lodgings, and Mogoroja, careful lad that he was, cleaned his boots nicely and set them to dry on the hearth, apart, as he always did. On the 3rd day after that, my cousin's boots fell apart completely, and he, furious beyond measure, took Pavel to task, demanding that he make him another pair in place of those, or give him his money back at once. "You put rotten leather on me, you cobbler," Mogoroga said in a rage. "Is that the kind of friend you are? Come now. Choose one of the 2, or else you turn honour into shame. I'll smash your skull. Do you hear me?" Pavel, knowing himself innocent, replied with scorn. "Listen here, schoolmaster Mogoroga. Don't overdo it with your words. It doesn't suit you. Who are you calling a cobbler? After you've worn the boots all that time, tramping all day through slush, and battered them at dances and through all the ravines and backwoods, now you want me to give you your money back, or make you a new pair on the spot. Have you lost your wits? Isn't it enough that you've made me dizzy, putting your lasts on the block, pulling them to the channel and greasing them here by the oven, right under my nose every morning? Why, how many times have you even put posts on my feet? And I, like a good man, kept silent and endured it. I'm sorry to say you're thick-skinned, but very well. I'll serve you from now on, if that's how you want it." "What are you saying, cobbler?" said my cousin. You dare Mogoroja me? Did I stand only in your boots, you wretch? And you still get cheeky. I'll cripple you in a moment with something so you won't be able to feed yourself all your life. Before you cripple me, said Pavel, I'll nicely cuff you with the awl, do you understand? Seeing it was about to come to blows, we stepped in between them and with great difficulty made peace. Ioan was to give Pavel another small coin, and he would patch the boots, and that was that. They joked a little afterward, half-heartedly, but the affront Pavel had given Mogoroja would not leave his heart. In the week of Shrovetide, old Vasile, coming to Folticeni, among other provisions, brought his son 3 fattened piglets ready to cook. "Welcome in good health, father," said Ioan, kissing his hand. "Didn't you hit the mark?" "Well met in good health, boys," replied old Vasile. "As the saying goes, blind men find Suceava. How could I not find you?" Then, from one word to another, he asked, "Well, what does the Machet say about your priesthood? Does he mean to let you go soon? For to tell the truth, I'm tired of all this shaking and expense." "It's not Mechet, father, it's catechist," Ioan replied, embarrassed. There, said old Vasile, as if that's my worry now. As they say, it's not Tanda, it's Manda, not this and that, but that and this. What's the use of circling around it? Meshet, Bereshe, Pleshkan, whatever his name is. Ioan, I know he skins us well, said old Vasile. And they say the priest has 4 eyes. Better pray with all your heart to Saint Nicholas, the wonder-worker from Humulesht, that he may help you see yourselves priests at last. And then you'll be above need. You pay no taxes, do no corvée. You sit at the head of the table and eat nothing but pies and roast hens. And in the end, you even get paid from the tithe. As the saying goes, a priest needs a horse's legs, a wolf's mouth, bark for a face, and a mare's belly, and nothing else besides. It would be well, Lord forgive me, if churchmen were otherwise. But you've heard that the priest's hand is for taking, not giving. He eats from the living and from the dead alike. See how well the catechist lives, without toiling hard like us. Only, well, the gift must be honoured. Ioan, I've already picked out a skull-cap for you, said old Vasile, getting ready to leave. See that you don't dawdle. Set your hand to learning quickly and come home. For Ioana, Grigorash Roshu's daughter from our village, is waiting eagerly to be your priest's wife. Stay well, schoolmaster Zaharia and nephew, for I'm off. Go in good health, old Vasile, we said, seeing him off a little way, and please tell our parents from us that we are well and send our greetings. After old Vasile left, I said gently to Ion, Cousin, how about we roast one of those piglets tonight? I've a mighty craving. Mogorojeya, foolish and stingy as he was, began to shout at me. Hey, listen here. I'm not Nika Oshlobanu for you to twist me any way you please. With what you feed me, that's how I'll feed you. You won't get a single bite of piglet from me, even if you burst. And if not, the one who says it answers, replied Gatlan. Amen, I muttered half under my breath. And I second it, said Pavel from behind the stove. Amen or no amen, wipe your mouths on the piglets, Mogoroja said angrily. Do you hear? Don't keep chasing after delicacies. Eat a bit of fried patience too. It won't hurt you. Leave him be, said Zaharia. May it stick in his throat in the other world. And so, God help us, we set ourselves to studying. But truth be told, we were no more fit for studying than a dog is for licking salt. A fierce fire was burning in the stove. We had banked and covered it, for it was bitterly cold outside. Old Bodranga had got himself tangled somewhere that evening, and Pavel, having no work as on other days, had gone to bed early, and Mogorojea, trusting in his father's skullcap, had fallen asleep before Pavel, his feet tucked into the sleeves of his coat as usual, snoring mightily. As the saying goes, leave me be, and I'll leave you be. Later on we too put out the candle and went to bed, but sleep would not come, thinking of the piglets. Zachary, don't you have any of those posts left somewhere? I whispered. No, brother, Zachariah whispered back. And Lord, how good it would be to give Mogorojea one. But instead of posts and such here, take my little knife, cut the stitching on Mogorojea's sleeve gently, right by one heel, give it a good singeing with some of these matches that smoulder, and see if the piglets will still please him. Just don't dither so much. Hand me the knife, I said, and whatever happens, I trust you won't turn me in and let him beat me. Not a word of it, said Zachariah. Go on. Singed him without fear. Then I took my heart in my teeth and did exactly as Gutlan had advised. I cut the seam gently and held a small bundle of lit matches to my cousin's heel, where the skin was thickest, until the fire got him. And when he bellowed with all his might, I flung the matches from my hand, sprang behind Zachariah, and we began snoring as if we had been asleep for ages. Ion, however, tangled with his feet in the sleeves of his coat, had toppled flat to the ground, writhing like a snake and cursing us with every word that came to his mouth. Ah, may God damn you to damnation, you wretched spawn. No one can rest in this house because of you. Who did this trick to me? I hear Zachariah and Nika snoring and can't believe they dared. It must be that rogue Pavel who did it. May horseflies drink him dry when his sleep is sweetest. And he even pretends to be asleep, the scoundrel. I'll teach him to mock a man another time. Quick as lightning, he grabbed a pair of tongs and took a glowing coal from the hearth, and with it climbed onto Pavel's stove. And as the poor fellow slept, face up, he set the coal on his bare chest, saying, There! Feast on making sport of me, you cobbler. Then a terrifying scream rang out, and with that scream, Pavel, kicking at the stove, brought it crashing down, and in that confusion, waking to find Ion face to face with him, the two fell into a savage fight, and you could only look on if your heart could bear it. Help, Zachary! Someone will be killed in this house and we'll have to answer for it, I said, trembling like a reed with fear. Hold on! What's this? Zachariah cried, leaping between them like a hawk. Is this what you call a respectable house? And I, straight out the door, ran crying and began to shout at the top of my lungs, calling the neighbors. People rushed out in confusion from every direction, thinking it was a fire, or that soldiers were cutting us down, God forbid. For there was a German garrison in Falticeni at that time. When this whole brawl was finally done with, the people left us as they found us and scattered, jeering at us. You should have seen the cursing and the uproar in the house. Broken windows, the stove knocked down, tufts of hair torn from heads, blood on the floor. Pavel, with his chest burned, and Ion with his heel scorched, sat aside gasping. Zachariah and I stood on the other side, marveling at what had happened, and the innocent piglets hanging in the entry to cool. Nobody knows what became of them. After a while, Zachariah, wanting to break the silence, said, Sing them now, Ewane, the blameless ones, Alleluia, and don't yearn so much for them. It seems it was written so for the poor little ones. Stop clattering your mouth too, Ion replied bitterly. You kept calling doom on them, and look, your wish came true. At those words, old Bodranga arrived, squinting, and began crossing himself from the doorway. Well, old man, I said, do you like how you found us? Pavel, who until then had sat mute, looking around the house in misery, said, "Listen here, schoolmasters. To end all this devilry, pack yourselves off from me and leave me in peace. We, glad to have escaped with no worse than this, took what little we had left and moved across the road to a blacksmith, together with old Bodranga, our comforter. During Great Lent a rumour spread among the schoolmen about the abolition of the catechetical schools and the transfer of the younger among us to Sokola." "Well, there you have it. I've broken it for you," said Trasnia. "When it comes down to it, it's nothing. As the saying goes, we've prospered, horses and all. What devil made me rack my brains with grammar? Had I known this, I'd have stayed home, and with the money that was paid here and there, my father could have met some other need." "And what about us?" said the married schoolman, sighing. "We've been ruined outright. Coins, sheep, beehives, horses and oxen have all gone down the wolf's throat. Long live the catechist." "Hold your tongues," Zaharia replied. "Money is the devil's eye. That saying is finished. Why do you keep carving at the poor catechist so much? As if he were the only one like that. And as for you, I truly don't know how anyone could ever please you. As the saying goes, get in the cart. I won't. Get in the wagon. I won't. Get in the dray. I won't. Go on foot. I won't. Better say outright that you're drawn to your own kind, like water to its channel. I'm actually glad this has happened. Let's go to Sokola, if we want to come out well loaded with learning. There are the most learned professors in the world there, from what I hear." "To Sokola!" cried the younger schoolmen. "Go to the wilderness if you like," shouted the older ones. "Go spin yourselves like skylarks." And so, close to Easter, we scattered from one another, and it was settled that whoever wished would go to Sokola the following autumn, in the year 1855.
The end of this chapter.